What's up, PUBG fans? And here we are yet again with a little bit more action coming at you in just a minute. My name is Matcham, and joining me today is going to be Clover, and we will be taking you through everything that today has to offer. So there's been a lot going on. We've already had our first day of action, now moving over into our second day where we've got groups B and C. Clover, you excited to get everything underway?
I am so excited, especially considering what we saw yesterday from groups A and B. Houston Hardshifts took a really hefty lead along with a couple of other teams, so I'm interested to see if that dynamic is going to shake up at all today with the inclusion of Lobby C.
Yeah, I mean, we had a very hefty lead that came out with all things based and considered, where we had Houston Hardship Sonics and TAC 8 showing up in a big way. Back behind them is going to be Gravity. So we'll take a look through all the leaderboards, all that other stuff in just a second. But we kind of have to walk you through a little bit of everything that's going on and what you're going to be dealing with today. To get everything started off with, let's explain kind of what's going on. At this point, this is our third PCS, so most of you guys should have an idea on what's going down, right? But for all the new people that are watching, let's go ahead and break it down for you. 16 teams are going to be selected and move on to the grand finals. Right now, we've got 24 teams, all things considered. The bottom 8 are going to have to play back over into the Challengers Cup number 2 that are following through. So that's why we've got these 3 different groups that are broken down into 8 apiece. Each one's going to be playing against different ones over the weeks as it continues. Total prize pool moving forward is going to be $50,000. But the big thing, again, is all the buildup on where this is going. We want to see who the best of the best is because we had a couple of surprises and some curveballs that kicked off in PCS number 2. And we know the fact that you guys want to be prepped and ready. So that way, whenever we're watching everything for the grand finals, I know everybody's going to be sitting there kind of, we don't know anything specifically back and forth about how skins or anything else like that are looking at. But let's be honest, we've had 3 sets of them so far. You guys are going to want to know who you potentially going to be voting for, or at least who you're going to be rooting for at that stage.
Oh yeah, and I mean, the skins just keep getting better and better as well with everything. So as we get a little bit closer to the end of the group stage, we're definitely looking for more information on that. I know I'm excited. I am always looking for new skins in this game, Matt.
I fall in the same category. I'm kind of a sucker for that. Like the new shiny always draws my attention, and I want to have it just for bragging rights. There's something about just like playing with somebody and being like, "Oh, look at this gun I've got." You can't have it anymore because you didn't participate in the esports events. Ha, sucker! All right, so we are on Saturday, groups B and C, October 3rd. We've got another set of action that's going to be coming in tomorrow, but you can see we've got 3 weeks of action, 3 days apiece, all stacking up through all the way through October 18th. You can see our groups as they break down. Remember, there are 8 in each one, so we're going to be looking at groups B and C off to the middle and right sides. There's a couple of teams that I'm willing to bet that a lot of people are excited to see. We've got ATC Dodge Comets. We've got, oh my God, Gas. I'm going to have to look that one up because I always murder that one. Guadalajara, what is it? Guadalajara Gas Cans. Thanks for that,
Yes.
guys. I appreciate that. Elusive, coming back behind that. San Diego Rarity and Shoot to Kill now joining the mix.
Yeah, and I mean, as well too, I kind of am really excited. Obviously, not going to be playing today, but the return of the Rumblers. I know we've been kind of, last year it was any Rumblers in chat. We kind of got to have any trolls in chat. So now we've got a little bit of a mixture, any Rumblers and any trolls in chat. Guys, let yourself be known. But today we've got some big powerhouses, Matt, that didn't get to play yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. There's a couple of these teams I know made a little bit of adjustments moving through, so good to see how their new rosters or these new teams are going to perform. Moving through today, we're going to start off everything on Erangel for 3 different maps. Then I'm going to switch over towards Miramar for the last 2. Keep in mind, we're not doing it. We used to kind of rotate day by day. Now we're just setting up for weeks. So that way the players can go through, walk in with full expectations, knowing the fact that, okay, this is our Miramar week. We need to make sure that we're on top of it. Overall placement points, no surprise again. This is the tried and true system that we've been using for forever. First place gets 10 points, diminishes all the way back down to 1 point in 8th place. Then 9th through 16 get absolutely nothing. Unless they manage to get a couple of kills, because remember, every single kill you get, not a knock, the kill secured gives you 1 point.
Oh, and there's been a lot of kill points so far thrown out. And guys, it matters because look at the pricing breakdown. And this is just for group states, Matt. So there's still more money to be had in both the finals and Challenger Cup to be announced later. And so, first place, I mean, 5,000. It's not small. And of course, moving forward, there'll be even more money. But it's the bounties that I'm also really excited about because it really gives us a chance to monitor the players and the teams and see how well they're doing. I think that was something that Tiggleton actually cleaned up quite a bit for himself during PCS2. So it'll be really exciting to see the players, of course, with the highest kills, assists, knock, and damage, the team with the most chicken dinners, and of course, to the tournament MVP, which we will do a community vote for at the end of group stage.
Another reason to watch every single step of the way. You never know who's going to impress you. And yes, we know that there's some big names out there, but sometimes it's fun to be creative. Like there are a lot of players out here that are a major component for their team. Making sure to get them some support and try to get them on those MVP lists, it's totally worth it. Give them that ego boost, give them a chance and a shot at it. But enough about the future. Let's talk about now. We've got groups B and C that we're going to be watching today. You can see it's One Eye Open, Gravity, Houston Hardshifts, Liberate, Oath, Ascendance Esports, Virtue, Zenith Esports. Any trolls in chat comments? Dodge, Guadalajara, Gas Cans, Illusion, Elusive, San Diego Rarity, and Shoot to Kill. And my God, looks like this could be pretty fun the way that a lot of these teams are going to be. There's a lot of interesting drop paths that we're going to be looking at. And I would say, let's just be real. There's a couple of pretty violent teams inside this lobby. And, that's what I always enjoy.
Oh yeah, and for me, I'm really excited as well to see the return of Shoot to Kill. They did not play yesterday, and I'm not sure if that contributed to the fact that Houston Hardshifts, Sonic, and TAC 8 were able to run away with it. As we look at the leaderboard, guys, the grayed out names are teams that are not playing today. As you can see, Houston Hardshifts are in fact playing today. They put down 82 points
Yeah.
in one day across 5 games, Matt.
Well, I just want to take the stab while I can. Look at that. Shoots kills in last place. Yeah, okay. They didn't play yesterday, guys. I already know that. But come on.
Oh,
Embrace the memes. But like you were talking about with Houston Hardshifts, they're one of the few teams. They're the only team in the top 3 right now that's playing again today. So they can really further their lead up there and really make a statement for themselves and kind of, I guess, be the place setter that everybody else is trying to chase after. There's a couple of benefits that fall into that role because you get a little bit more breathing room. You get to kind of like have a little bit of ego and swag moving into this. But on the other side of it, everybody starts doing all the math to figure out exactly what they need to do to catch you. And that puts a lot of pressure on the position. But let's be real, Houston Hardshifts are a team known to play well under pressure. And I want to see how they perform today.
yeah, I think too when we really looked at PCS2, that was the team that we continued to talk about in terms of their performance, damage, kills, and we really couldn't stop speaking about how great they were in the group stages. Grand finals, there were some ups and downs in terms of their performance, but overall, it was really exciting to see. And so now that we've gone into the PCS3 series, we started a brand new season. This is a brand new opportunity for them to shake off some of the things that maybe were holding them back in PCS2. And coming out with a strong lead in group stages can do a big thing for moral for a lot of these teams, and so it'll be really interesting to see how this season progresses. Now, this is only week 1, day 2 of group stages. Like you said, after today, Hardshifts will be done. So teams, I believe, is A and C will have one more chance tomorrow to play before we go into week 2 next week. But this has really been quite spicy and so far quite a bit different than I think what some of us were expecting.
I'm going to go ahead and help you guys out just a touch. I know that you're sitting over there looking at Guadalajara gas cans like, who the hell are these people? I'm not familiar with it because it's one of our newer teams, but you're going to know the names. So let's go ahead and run through that real quick. That's going to be Honey Badger, Box, Nikos, and Oldless. They're also going to have potential other people that are going to be coming in as they have Alandoon and Will that are going to be rounding out the rest of the roster and positions. So a lot of names that we're familiar with and have had different high performance points at different points of their career. So gonna have to keep an eye on them. And yes, I just really do like saying Guadalajara gas cans, even though I know that whenever we're getting into a tense moment and we're trying to go through the whole thing, it's going to suck. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into game number 1. See, the drop's gonna be coming off. Going to be just south of Novo and ending just south of Georgia Pool. So that means if you're like a Yaz Naya team, that's going to suck just a touch for you. But plenty of opportunities coming out along this path. Position now coming down. You can see 3 different teams have opted into going back down towards Military Base Island itself. It's going to be the Gas Cans, Zenith, and One Eye Open.
Ooh, and it looks like one member of Gravity as well is going to be dropping late. We see D-Rich all the way out to the west. I'm not sure if he had a little bit of an AFK or a late load-in, but should have the ability to rejoin his teammates. The problem, of course, is that they're on the other side of the map. And also, speaking of a little bit of fighting here, looks like Ascendance Esports. There you go. I think a little gentleman's agreement there, allowing Innate and the Rarity to stay alive just a little bit, as though Zraven is going to pick up that vehicle, send it back to the team. And you know what, Matt? I was a little worried when I first saw this flight path, thinking, is it going to go military? but instead we are going to be on the mainland. This is actually a fairly nice center circle for most of these squads.
See, here's the thing. It's crazy to go back down towards military. Meanwhile, I love it. A couple of shots coming out from Invasion on Virtue, trying to take. And me see if we can connect onto anybody. Boat's going to go ahead and get grounded off in the distance to get a little bit more space. So pretty much just a couple of shots back over towards Sin to get them in reposition off to the side of this. It doesn't look like any chase is going to be coming through right now. Most of the teams pretty settled down right now, got a pretty decent amount of control coming into play. I do want to note out that the Houston Hardshifts are playing back over towards the west in what was an old tried and true strategy of Tempo Storm. So you can see the fact that Maluk's still bringing his hand in back over into this position, like the positioning coming out from that's going to give them a lot of control. But again, keep an eye on how they regroup off of this position, as well as how Rarity is going to try to reposition out of this. Long distance travelers are going to probably be Oath that are going to have to make a cut back across, and One Eye Open, but Rarity do have themselves Pachinki to play around with. No surprise, back over towards the northwest, you can see that Shoot to Kill is playing in their tried and true home. This is just a staple whenever you watch anything in North America and PUBG Esports. You know that this is going to be where these guys play, and it looks like they've already started to regroup, and they're going to start venturing out, trying to get a little bit more information.
And kudos too to both Shoot to Kill and ATC for continuing to keep these drop spots through each season. And I mean, why break what isn't broke, right? Both of these teams still having a very northern drop path, but it's really worked with them with Erangel, especially with some of these rotations now. Given where the circle is, this is going to give them, I think, a little bit of an easier time to take control right now of Everest, which with a circle like this, Matt, can be pretty huge depending on where that phase 2 shift goes. And sometimes we have seen it very early on, it can take a hit in that direction. On the other side of Everest, of course, you do have Ascendance that's looting in and around the ruins, and across the water out in Cube, Illusion sent one already. So it'll be interesting to see Light Show, who's now joining Illusion here.
Yeah, a little bit of a position coming up. They can see that what's going on with Ascendance off in the distance. Ascendance switched over to that 2-2 split that you're referencing just a second ago. Shoot to Kill crossed around Everest as well, now running. Let's be real, it's pretty much a 2-2 split. They're going to go ahead and regroup once they get vehicles as well. Hardshifts already in the process of trying to reconnect with each other. Looks like they're going to be playing just up north of Chopsticks around that location. Good positional point to potentially catch a couple of people rotating through, as this is a pretty common location. Can net you a couple of early kill points depending on how your vision comes into play with it. But they do also have J-Sync that's playing back down towards the south, and Loeb's contemplating going that direction. So they might be setting themselves up a little bit of a kill box, as very often people kind of skirt around the side of, I guess, the southern Pachinki hillside. And, oh, nice position coming up from Zover, and going to get a little bit of damage back over towards Mon Hardy, and going ahead and dropping him out. That's going to be our first kill coming over here after a quick reload and a couple of taps. And there you go. First blood goes over towards Gravity.
A little bit of a risky transition there for Ben Hardy, who was scouting ahead for the rest of their squad. Coming out of Nova, we had 3 teams drop Military Island early on. A couple of teams took their alternative drop. I think they were anticipating this military, or the circle to go military. Unfortunately, Ben Hardy just was not really in a great place to avoid some of that damage in Milta, but his teammates learning are going to go wide. And now one of our other military squads, Zenith, is making it across the West Bridge. So Guadalajara gas cans, the only one still on the Millie Island, but plenty of the island is also still into play for this phase. So they can stay there a little longer. The question, of course, now goes is where is Zenith going to look to place down, at least for the end of phase 1? I mean, with a zone like this, it could stay pretty central. It could be kind of boring, or we could see it take a very hard shift, Matt, and that might mean that all of this good kind of early placement and you know, standing out right now, like Zenith, who is currently in a really great position to scout out teams, we'll have to move again. So really just looking at our map, we can see how many teams are already so central to where this current zone is.
And I think that comes into the big factor right now. Everybody's putting their eggs in the very centralized basket, and very quick early rotations come through, and that's kind of locked down Rarity into position. Usually see the Pachinki teams try to stretch out a little bit more, like see what's going on, get a little bit more information on what's happening next to them. Shoot to Kill, on the other hand, has decided, hey, we want to step back down here and see what's going on. Ascendance has already had one of their members ascend back over towards the heavens, has gotten spotted out and quickly flushed out by Shoot to Kill. So nice high ground vision coming into play from that. But just like you were talking about, so many of these teams are playing back over towards center. If we see a shift specifically back over towards the northeast or the southwest, that's going to mean a mass migration of teams in what could either be an opened area back down towards the southwest, or a contained area back up towards the northeast. These different areas make it difficult to
Ooh.
move through, but Alo had a perfect read on that, and Maji is regretting going for that peak. They've already taken down the other member of Ascendance that's off in this location, so that's going to be a quick pickup, running back over there. Ascendance now just down to 2, playing just down the hillside from this point. Has to be very careful, and I'm kind of curious if Shoot to Kill is going to continue just their walk, as they are just on the hunt for more and more Ascendance players.
I really like this. I mean, you basically had two splits versus each other, and Shoot to Kill is going to win this out against Ascendus, as we can already see them take out the compound. The other two members of Shoot to Kill are up on top of Everest already and taking shots at Illusion, who went ahead and moved on from Cube. I think we've had a couple of other teams that have pushed and transitioned through one another, but have continued kind of on. In the most part, though, Comets, I think actually, no, excuse me, running into a number of teams. Potato Hill starting to pop off as well with Liberate. It's kind of what we talked about. Everybody is trying to get to the center, and a couple of teams now that are a little bit late to do so are finding themselves in some early combat.
Yes, fans, you did see that properly. We did get a chance to go through all of the roster swaps that have happened in Group C, and this is your first time seeing a couple of them. Comet's made a few little switches, and one of them is going to be a player that most of you are familiar with. It's going to be Vegas and Leda coming back over to join Monty and Yaxley to round out, give that squad a little bit more killing power, and they're going to need it as Liberate starting to close right up on top of him. Gets a quick knockback off to one side, trying to get a couple more pot shots, but only going to be able to pick up one. Going to be content with it. Meanwhile, it looks like somebody decided to take a dive out of the vehicle in another part of the map. But that's a quick pickup coming out from them, as it looks like Comets do manage to find themselves a little bit of a place to play off to the side of this.
Oh, you know, really great play from Liberate. Liberate picked up 2 in the off season going into here. I'm sure you guys see the good old Baja Waka back here into PUBG Esports after taking a bit of a break since 2019, and Halo Senpai. So really 2 fantastic names to kind of join us back here in esports. Interesting to see. Now, Liberate had a little bit of an off day yesterday. They didn't put down a ton of points, but at the same time, I think when you have, Matt, 1 or 2 teams that really just completely decimate the lobby, it can be difficult for the rest of the teams to be able to make much of it. So it's kind of one thing that I'm really looking for today. I want to see if Liberate can maybe throw down hard. They've got a lot on their team.
Not the hard shift I was wanting, but still a little bit of a complicated one. Pachinki stays inside the circle, but a lot of the canal in play as well. Touch of military base island still in play, as it looks like there's a little bit of a skirmish that's happening right on the outside of this. Going to go ahead and reposition ATC moving back down the hillside, but going to go ahead and pick up a little bit of loot, reposition back out of that. Our teams back over towards the north, where we're looking right now, are going to need to make their way back down towards the south, as there has been a migration phase that has kicked off. We can see that Elusive's already on the move. Hardshifts as well. Looks like Ascendance is already trying to reposition out of this. We do have ATC that's kind of in a deadlock position, doesn't want to move because they saw those smokes down in front of them. Instead, playing this a little bit more patiently. It's still an early circle, and a lot of the area up towards the north is still pretty wide out in the open. Elusive has decided that they're going to run over here next to Pachinki, but Rarity is just going to go ahead and take down 2 of them very quickly, buying a little bit more space off to the side of it. You can see Elusive's trying to run over towards the hillside. It is going to be open for now, but there are already 2 different teams that are trying to reposition back over towards the east. So the slower they are at this point, just going to be catastrophe for them. But they do manage to get back over there. Destinator does get into position as well as sneak attack. They are separated out. But this could be problematic, as a lot of teams back over towards the east are starting to post up. So they have Rarity on one side of them, and it looks like they could have Gravity, Liberate, and Dodge all on Vision in position as well. So have to play this fairly carefully. Meanwhile, back down to the south, looks like Zenith and Gas Cans are starting to get line of sight on each other.
I mean, there's really, with a zone like this, most teams are trying to avoid Pachinki. Rarity's still inside the town proper, and so that's really going to push a lot of these teams into the compounds out to the south. And when we took an overhead view at the map a moment ago, Matt, we could see that pretty much every compound was already spoken for. Everybody's trying to get as close to the water as possible. We should still see it hanging in this area for at least another phase or 2, and hopefully take another swing north. But that also puts it at the possibility of being Pachinki Hill near the end, which Ascendance has sent the last 2 remaining members there. But Matt, as you and I know, that can be a very difficult hill to hold. And so when you kind of look at these fights, especially right now between Guadalajara and Zenith, whoever can win this out could put themselves in a really nice position. Guadalajara, though, as you can see, only has 3 players in this area. Their 4th, Honey Badger, has a nice little anchor over there at the warehouse by gas station, the other side of Zenith. So it could be very helpful in getting some extra information if Zenith extends themselves just a little bit outside this compound.
We also saw Zenith that was playing up on top of the buildings, trying to get a little bit of a tricksy line of sight, seeing if maybe they can connect onto that. Honey Badger's position is going to make that a little bit more difficult. We've seen a lot of the teams opt into playing back down around the south right now. There's a separation that's coming out. A lot of teams are either clustered around Pachinki or getting fairly close to the coastlines. The teams that are kind of scavenging for different points right now, one of those you can see off in the distance is going to be Houston Hardshifts. Malouk is trying to scout out just a little bit more, but Shoot to Kill has a ton of vision on him. And are just playing this patiently, seeing if maybe they can wait until it starts moving up the hillside. See if they can spot this without anybody going to the peak, take out the tires, make sure the fact that now he is stranded off in that position. So now Malouk is kind of caught out by himself. Looks like his vehicle is going to have himself no position, no way to get out of that point. Shoot to Kill might use this opportunity to go for a reposition around the side of him because they know that where they're playing at right now, he has to hide behind that tree, and that only denies one sight line for him. So if anybody positions around the outside of this, they can easily get a flank off on his point. It's going to be on the other members coming out from Hardshifts right now to provide some type of cover and deny any movement coming out. Fight coming out back down towards the south. It's gotten a little bit more legs to it as it looks like Honey Badger has moved closer back over towards Zenith. And we do have D-Rich that is very separated out from the rest of his team. You can see he's posted down way back over towards the west by his lonesome. The other three members of Gravity right now are contending back over next to Liberate on the eastern part of the circle.
Yeah, I mean, again, back to that very beginning when we saw the flight path, D-Rich, for whatever reason, was a very late drop, and he's still been working his way back towards his teammates, but didn't want to run the risk of driving through too many squads. That said, now here comes the fight between Guadalajara Gas Cans and Honey Badger with a nicely thrown nade. This might land true, Matt, and if it does, bouncing just short, but it would have been a very nice knock on a kickstart had it hit here. As you see, a Molotov was thrown and returned.
This is a very pivotal fight right now. This is the side flank position coming through, and you can see Zenith's trying to get a little bit more support back over towards this angle just in case something goes wrong. They don't know exactly that this is going to be another player from the gas cans, but they have to make the assumption with it. So instead, starting to clean back along the hillside. Nice vision comes up, hits for quite a bit of damage. Honey Badger's now found himself in a little bit of trouble as now Roth's going to be playing it a little bit more aggressive around the side of this. They're going to have a lot of time to work with. Gets a quick, easy spray. Now they have the information to work with. They know that they can regroup, provide a little bit of cover back over for their teammates. Punij is playing back on the other side of this. Does get some more vision. Drops another one all by himself. But he is fairly separated out from the rest of his team. It's all on defense and cover up coming from them. Quick bounce around coming from the corners. Going to go ahead and use a little bit of utility. See if maybe he can spot something out. Not going to get it directly. Going to try it yet again. See if he can get any post off by a little bit more time. The fight's now happening back with his other teammates, and the stall has come through. You can see the gas cans now coming to firmly right, a little bit more support on the side of this. Punij trying to see if he can find some type of angle to work with. Not a lot to work with right now, as there's a lot of gas cans make the play. Door cops open. A little bit of dose to go back around. Is going to go ahead and go for the hard push. First one's going to go down.
Ooh.
Second one's going to go down. Nice hold coming out from Zenith.
I mean, really great play by Punij. He used all those flashbangs to keep the pressure on the gas cans, allowing him to pop off that first aid kit and the boosters to do their work. The time brought his health back up, and he was able to quickly recover and set up for the push that he knew was coming. Getting that first knock, though, was absolutely huge. And I mean, really, completely... I was kind of worried. I was worried whether or not they were going to be able to push that through. Now, that said, we've still got other teams continuing to fight in this area. Virtue kind of has finally found themselves the ability to rotate back up onto Shoot to Kill, who've continued this post up against what was left of Houston Hardshifts, and now the fight for the hill continues. But look at this. Evasion X is already in position here for the top of the hill. Not sure if Luke 12 just spotted him. Oh, yep, nades out. I think it might be time for this fight, Matt.
Close range, that means you got to throw out a couple of grenades. This is the way Shoot to Kill operates. Getting a little bit of separation coming out. Evasion's going to have to move away from his other teammates. That means that it's going to provide a little bit of a separated front. Shoot to Kill's going to have to be very careful on how they move up into this. Otherwise, they could be walking into a kill box. Going to go and spout out Evasion. Deny that side push that looked like it was going to be trying to come through. Now the high ground is really what they have to worry about. Look at how quick they react onto this. Going ahead, moving into cover. A little bit of support still coming out from the hillside down below as it's going to be Purdy Curdy picking up another one. Quick follow-up coming out from Alo as well. Now there is just one member up. Trying to make a play around the side of it. Battleground gets the vision, tries to go for the shots, not connecting with a lot. This is going to be problematic. Tries to tap him down, finally gets him down, but the cost is his life. That should be a quick res coming back up as Purdy Curdy should be alive, but they're going to have to trek back over towards the east as the circle has still continued to stay next to Pachinki.
You got to give kudos to Batty. It was a beautiful shot indeed. Unfortunately, Shoot to Kill was inside the zone and has plenty of cover on that hill, so they're going to be able to get that res off safely. Now, outside of the zone is Liberate, who are currently trying to get through ATC, set up this very nice gatekeep. They do have the high ground. We can see right now, right, rotating into one another. Halo Simpo had that one kill earlier. Ice Tech with the barrel out. This is primed and ready for close range. He sees him. He's lying prone. In fact, I'm actually not sure if ATC realizes exactly how close Liberate is to them. And you can even see on the minimap, there's still more players in the area. Oath is just on the other side of this. So if ATC is not too careful, Matt, they could find themselves pinched in just a matter of minutes, moments even.
Yeah. ATC is playing this aggressive. They're trying to get a little bit more information, but that might be a problem for them. One member quickly goes down from Liberate. You can see the nice positioning off to the side of it. Sharpshot gets a little bit of damage off quick flush as well. Throwable's going to start coming up, but the tree should provide enough support. Liberate's starting to make the push along the side of it. If Guabi can manage to find out Marsalek, that could open up the doors for them to make their push back off to the side of this. Marsalek seems to be very aware based off the position, drops back down as he is blinded, but now trying to crawl back over towards the support lines. You can see that the flanks under a little bit of pressure right now, instead trying to make their way back over, get Sharpshot back up, but that means that two members are essentially eliminated from this potential push. Repositioning out, coming out from the sides of it, they have to be very careful. Norcus isn't in the best position yet to provide a lot of assistance, so Marsalek is really having to hold down the flank all by himself. Utility is out. The smokes are buying a little bit more time. Sharpshot does get back up. So now the three-person point coming out from ATC is doing a good job of holding back Liberate, as Norcus is still playing back on the far angle on this in no rush to come through. All pressure now relies back over towards Liberate and how they're wanting to play on this. This is not inside the safe zone, and you can see the blue is slowly catching up to this position. They got to figure out what they're going to do. Marsalek goes ahead and goes for another extension back over towards it. Now it's all onto Baha Waka, looking back over towards it. He knows where Marsalek is, but can't go for the play quite yet. He's got the hillside in front of him, not a lot of vision to work with, and you can see Aguila is just sitting, waiting for him to encroach up that hillside. The blue's about to touch back over towards the sides of ATC. ATC is going to have to start condensing back over towards this point. Instead, going to go ahead and take the vehicle. Norca still holding the angle, making sure nobody's coming around from the outside of it. What is Baha Waka going to do?
Really, what is he going to do indeed? Gravity's actually been to the south of this house, gotten quite a bit of shots into Liberate, and that's going to make this transition away very scary. The biggest thing, too, that's really helped ATC in this is that Oath has been completely preoccupied with Illusion, so ATC is going to have a little bit more space there. We'll find Baha Waka. That's it for Liberate, but now ATC, who has been so focused with what's been going on to the north, needs to be a little bit careful of what's happening to the south map, because Gravity has been waiting for their time to strike, but at the same time, so you take a look at the minimap, Oath is also looking in this direction. They've pulled their attention away from the north, and so ATC finding themselves the possibility of being pinched here, but shots out now from Gravity, who looks like is also taking a little bit of damage from Dodge and One Eye Open. It's getting really busy in this corner.
I wish that we saw Gravity move out just a little bit earlier from that position. They heard the firefight, they heard how long it was going on, but they still opted into playing towards cover. This has now allowed ATC to move into a position to play aggressively back over towards them. This was Gravity's control territory that they had for quite a while. Zovrin's still kind of the front man back over pretty close towards the safe zone right now. So he's trying to position back up, seeing if he can get ahead of ATC. Marsalek trying to do the same for his team. Back down towards the south, just like you were talking about. One Eye Open is in a position. Here was what's going on. They've got themselves a crate that they're working around, but them and Dodge are both going to have to move fairly quickly. You can see two of the members for Dodge already posted up at the time, but Comets and Zenith are also in a hold-up position as well. Comets do have a position inside the safe zone, but Zeniths are going to be the ones that have to figure out, do they make the aggressive play or do they try to reposition around this? And let's be honest, there's not good options to reposition from here. There's going to have too many eyes on them. So even if they jump back in those vehicles, too many teams are going to be able to take shots at them. Zenith knows this, and instead trying to figure out if maybe they can get a lucky knock off of this and then maybe capitalize off of that to make the push. Or maybe Puna just wants to go for the play, reveals himself, and gets dropped. That's a quick flush coming through. That's not the angle that Zenith needed to play from that point. That's a directed push back up before the smoke plumes had gone really deployed out. So instead, now Zenith is playing on the tail end of this, now knowing that they're having to walk into a very deadly kill box that they have no vision on.
Oh, no vision on indeed, and we can see right now your utility still have just a bit, a couple of smokes on each of the Zenith players, and as well, utility coming back out now from Comets. Roth actually getting a beautiful knock there onto Leda, and this could be huge, open up. If Zenith could just push one or two here into the compounds, it's going to not only give them the ability to stay up here in phase 5, but regain control of this, which they need to, because shoot to kill and dodge are just on the other side of the street, and they're waiting for their opportunity to third party this fight.
That Molotov was so pivotal. Throwing it in through the windows, so that way everybody has to step away from the other windows, allows Roth and Shinobi to move into a position on the other side of this. That way Shinobi can actually position off on this. And now look, they're now holding the pincered position. Kickstar's got the outside of this. He can take pot shots anytime Monty goes for the peak. Actually still playing in a very interesting position down below this. But with this reposition, now Kickstart can reposition up into this, hold down the point, and they know that they have the numbers advantage. They don't have to worry about the zone as much anymore. They just have to worry about how they want to breach the building.
and the breach is coming right now. Looks Zenith is trying her best to stay alive. The onslaught of bullets from shoot to kill is making this a little bit difficult, but somehow they still have utility, and Yaxley's very low. It's only going to take a handful of bullets here from Comets. Oh, but Shinboy is actually going to get Yaxley down first. They're still able to keep 3 up, find the last player of Comets, and now they're going to have a little bit of a breather, but not really much of anything else, because look how much open area is north of this building, and Bullet's still out right now. Alo's spotting Kickstart, but he's actually going to fall right as he gets to the Wizard Tower.
This is what I was talking about that I wanted Gravity to do earlier. Look at how Dodge positioned and shoot to kill. They heard the firefight that was happening, and instead of trying to make an aggressive play or too passive of play it patient. Position where you know that the other team is going to have to move. And we were talking about a second ago how open this is. Kickstart walks out, instantly gets shot from 2 different teams and gets dropped. Back over towards the east, ATC did end up winning the fight, picking up a lot of kills, so they have a lot of control back over towards the eastern corridor. You can see the last remaining members of Ascendance still alive, holding on to that duo that they've had for so long, are about to have to move as well. But over towards the north, we have Elusive, Oath, and Radiance that are all going to be repositioning on a similar path and going to have to deal with a little bit of the fields that are still inside of Pachinki. This hill, right where everybody's trying to cluster around, is going to be the contention point. Depending on how they play this, the different line of sights and the different angles that they're trying to work around. ATC is trying to make a position back around the side of this, moving back down towards the south, trying to push in from the east and try to use that opportunity in that little bit of a ledge. But it's going to be Dodge, who's in position, looking back over towards Zenith, that's going to have a little bit of an opportunity. Sharpshot's just going to go ahead and go for the play. Super aggressive, right up on top of him, trying to be the distraction. Buys enough time for the rest of the teammates, but Marslick does go down. Sharpshot's in a lot of trouble as well. Just down to a smidgen of life. Peeks back over, picks up one. Has to be careful, trying to dodge out the grenade. Does go down. Just one member up for ATC. Back off in the distance for it, and it's going to be Noricus. It's going to be a quick explosion. Going to go ahead and rock that vehicle off to the side, but Patron can reposition on the outside of this, go ahead and pick up the kill, and now start making his way up the hillside as well, because it's wide out and in the open because there is nobody in front of it.
But, I mean, Patron really just cleaned house with that positioning. He'd been lying in wait for quite some time, and Sharpshot actually rotated just beyond him. So even all of the work that Sharpshot was able to do was all for naught, as that was taken back for Patron, who also has a very nice and safe position. He does need to be a little bit careful of Shinboy, who's also down there to the south. But we look at the west here, Matt. Shoot to kill, 8 kills right now. Very nice, strong position. Plenty of coverage here as well. And if they can spot out San Diego Rarity, that's really... I think it'd be a lot here to help it, as we can see Oath eliminating what's left of Elusive. And there you go, Luke 12 spotting out San Diego Rarity and their smoke wall. At the same time, it looks like Oath is also laying him into him here. So now everybody still afraid to push up to the hill, playing along the edge, because again, Matt, there's so much open area in the center of the zone.
Well, whenever we're talking about the hill being the major contest point, that's because how the vision's going to come out. You can see kind of the lay of the land right now, where that hillside back over towards the right is going to be a big factor for it. Shoot to kill have the easiest path up towards that position and have the high ground advantage to try to work around. You can see Rarity is really just trying to cling to vehicles, trying to see if they can get a peek tap off to the side of it, maybe get a headshot off of it. They know the fact that they need to provide some type of distraction to reposition off of this. So now Rarity has a very difficult task ahead of them. Shoot to kill is repositioning back over towards the north and playing this very aggressive, giving them no breathing room, and they're all having to cluster together. And let's be real, that just means that they're going to be in a lot of trouble whenever the throwable range gets implemented by a shoot to kill. Quick peek going to be coming up, and you can see Luke 12 just instantly ripping apart one of the members. Looks back over on a different angle, has to step back down away from it, bites off a little bit too much, as now Oath has vision on this position. Off the side of this, now Oath is going to start making their way along the side of it. Party Cardi needs to finish this fast. There's a whole other team that's trying to make their way over here. It does get dropped, but do they know that Oath is running up this hillside, trying to get the res back over towards their teammate? They're in a little bit of trouble. If this grenade connects, it could be a huge disaster for Shoot to Kill. Going to end up a little bit short. Get some damage back over towards the down member, but Party Cardi has to play this carefully as well. Going to land right at his feet, goes down. Vehicle's going to flip right over his head. Oath is now taking control over everything towards the west. They've opened up the doors. They are just tearing apart Shoot to Kill one at a time, and Alo isn't in position to provide a lot of support just quite yet.
I mean, you really hate to see it with Shoot to Kill. They extended themselves just a little bit too far onto the San Diego Rarity, and Oath is going to be able to clean that up now as Shoot to Kill finds themselves eliminated. Meanwhile, back down to the south, Patron has been spotted, as well as Marcelic. Only Norca still staying for ATC. We're also going to lose Shinboy, so 2 solos all the way down here versus right now Oath, who is feeling very, very good after that fight with Shoot to Kill. In fact, the other thing too, Matt, Oath has really done a lot to comb this entire zone, so they know exactly where Norcus and Roth are going to be.
We got a lot of kills that are stacking up on these last couple of teams. We were talking about Shoot to Kill having a ton. It's the ATC sitting on 8. I believe I saw Zenith just a second ago sitting on a ton. Oath has control of the hillside. They've got every factor in their advantage. The only thing that could go wrong for them is if they overextend into this and each one of these solos manage to pick up an early kill. That's not going to happen on one angle. Quick pickup's going to come over for Relo. Now it is just down to 1. Pat's looking back over towards Roth. You can see the throwables are starting to come into play. Roth has nowhere to go. He's got a bunch of cover that he can work around with those vehicles that are back behind him. But the numbers, so many people from Oath just playing every single angle, starting to creep around and just make the smoke its own little contained trap. Good peek coming out. Roth's going to at least try to take down one with him, but that's going to cost him his life. Doesn't manage to pick up the flush. 9 kills and Oath gets the victory.
Oh, very well played there by Oath. You know what? Kudos to Roth at the end. He did get that one knock, but Oath had that set up too, right? Roth extended himself outside of the smoke, trying to find the kill, secure that extra point, but Oath was able to deny that there at the very end before he could do so. This was really exciting for me to get to see Oath as well really kind of come back out, take their own onto this with such a difficult circle like that, and the team's really playing the edge quite well. But again, Shoot to Kill as well. They picked up double-digit kills for that game.
We saw a lot of teams. Those final 4 teams were sitting on a ton of kills. Everybody knows I'm bad at math. I'm not going to try to figure it out. But let's just say approximately 40-ish kills were sitting on 4 different teams. That means it was a bloodbath of teams trying to make their way through. And you were talking about it earlier, Clover, about like it's very difficult to really do anything whenever you have teams that are just eating every single point that's around. They're walking away with the highest amount of points for survival because they were the last 4 alive, and they're walking away with all of the kill points inside the lobby. That means that these teams that are going out early or not capable of moving and playing aggressively are going to be like absolutely starving for every single point that they can get the further we go into this, unless something changes.
Yeah, and if you're a team right now that is in Lobby B and you did not have a good day yesterday because of the teams that were sponging points in the AB games, you really need to think about how you're going to factor when you're playing also against Lobby C because, this is going to be how it's going to go all throughout group stages. And you can't sit there and say, oh, well, one day we just had these people in our lobby. It was really difficult. It's really hard. There shouldn't be excuses at this level. That said, some teams have a really good day and sometimes that's all we really get out of them. Other teams will keep that trend going. And so that's kind of what I'm excited to look for after we leave week 1, moving forward to see which of these teams have really managed to click, especially with so many roster shifts.
Well, you said it yourself. Looks like there's a lot going on in Lobby C and a lot of blood to be had the further we move through. But that was only game number 1, guys. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We still have 4 more games to follow up after this, so please stay tuned. We will see you in just a second.